But the problem for them here, the reason this is a political crisis that won't blow over like everything does for him, is that this one doesn't come out of nowhere. Right? This stuff, as disgusting and raw as it is, it does, admit it, you know it. It fits with what we know of him and what we've seen of him.
He's not a war hero.
He's a war hero.
He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured.
The president's attacks on John McCain are well remembered, as are his attacks on the Gold Star family who lost their son, Captain Humayun Khan, in Iraq. But there's also the other ones that we noticed at the time and let pass, right? His attacks, not just on Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman from the National Security Council for his testimony in the impeachment inquiry, but specifically the president's attack on Colonel Vindman for his military service. The president mocking his Army uniform. The president putting that wounded combat veteran's Army rank in scare quotes in his tweets, as if Colonel Vindman wasn't really a lieutenant colonel in the Army. There was also the time that the president derided the former head of JSOC, Admiral Bill McRaven, deriding him specifically for the attack that he led that killed Osama bin Laden. But there has also just been the rank callousness to the family members of service members who the president had no political reason to attack, no beef with, no reason to criticize. He just couldn't muster the decency to even interact with them in a kind or basically human way.
I asked Master Sergeant Neal to put his phone on speaker so my aunt and uncle could hear as well. And he goes on to saying his statement as what he said was...
The president?
Yes, the president said that he knew what he signed up for, but it hurts anyways. And it made me cry because I was very angry at the tone of his voice and how he said it. Like he couldn't remember my husband's name. That what hurt me the most, because if my husband is out here fighting for our country and he risks his life for our country, why can't you remember his name? And that would make me upset and cry even more, because my husband was an awesome soldier.
What did you say to the president?
I didn't say anything. I just listened.
But you were upset when you got off the phone.
Oh, very, very upset and hurt. Very. It made me cry even worse.
Maisha Johnson, the widow of Sergeant LaDavid Johnson, who was killed in Niger in late 2017. You might remember that the president has also publicly derided the very idea, the very significance of what's emerged as the signature wound of the post 9/11 wars, which is traumatic brain injury.
Mr. President, a question on Iran. Initially, you said repeatedly to Americans that after Iran retaliated for the Soleimani strike, no Americans were injured. We now know at least 11 U.S. servicemen were airlifted from Iraq. Can you explain the discrepancy?
No, I heard that they had headaches and a couple of other things, but I would say, and I can report, it is not very serious.
So you don't consider potential traumatic brain injury serious?
They told me about it numerous days later. You'd have to ask the Department of Defense. No, I don't consider them very serious injuries.
This is how the president has talked about the U.S. military and service members, even those killed in action and those wounded in action, since he has been president. The Veterans of Foreign Wars asked for the president to apologize after he derided traumatic brain injury as headaches and something that's not very serious. The president never apologized. And so we've seen that from him. And maybe some of those things have registered and lasted in the news for a while, and some of them have registered for a second and slid by. But because we have seen that in him, now it sticks that we have these reports of him calling U.S. service members losers and suckers and him being repulsed by the sight of them, right? It fits with what we have seen.